The story follows Ok-ju, a grim and cold former bodyguard whose job was to protect clients in the Middle East and abroad. Back in Korea, Ok-ju is taking a break from her work and is trying to rebuild her life after a harrowing past on the job that has left her physically and emotionally drained. Our story starts when Ok-ju unexpectedly crosses paths with Min Hee, an old friend from her school days who is now working as a part-time baker and ballerina while picking out a birthday cake. Together, the girls rekindle their friendship, which brings a renewed sense of routine and joy to Ok-ju's hard life. Through Min Hee's unwavering optimism, Ok-ju learns to appreciate the beauty of life once again, and a deep bond forms between the two girls. So you can just imagine how heartbroken Ok-ju is when one day Min Hee calls her to come over to her apartment in the middle of the night. But when she arrives at Min Hee's apartment, she finds her friend's dead body lying in a pool of blood in the bath. Mysteriously, in the suicide note that Min Hee leaves behind, she asks Ok-ju to avenge her death and writes down the name of a social media account belonging to Chef Choi. Following this lead, Ok-ju will soon be drawn into an underworld much darker and more ominous than she has ever experienced before. While still at Min Hee's apartment, Ok-ju picks up her friend's phone when it rings. The man on the other side of the phone starts to threaten who he thinks is Min Hee. Ok-ju starts to realize there was something very dark that happened in Min Hee's life that she didn't know about. Following the social media trail left for her by Min Hee, Ok-ju finds an individual by the name of Choi Pro. But right now, with just a single social media account and a shady phone call, Ok-ju has only theories. Searching through social media, Ok-ju lands on Choi Pro's physical address, a massive and creepy mansion in the countryside. Deciding to take a visit, Ok-ju stakes out the mansion, waiting for Choi to leave. She doesn't have to wait long before Choi races out the gates in his sports car. Once in the mansion, Ok-ju wastes no time, fitting the place out with wiretaps, which will end up being useful later. In the bedroom, Ok-ju finds evidence of Choi Pro's side business, including a drawer full of USBs that contain all of his illegal filming. Watching Min Hee's USB, chillingly labeled Ballerina, Ok-ju starts to piece together what has happened to her friend, and her blood runs cold. Min Hee, it turns out, was one of the many girls who became trapped by Choi Pro, a bad guy who drugged unsuspecting women and secretly filmed them while he sexually abused his victims. Choi Pro would then leverage the videos to extort money and terrorize his victims, the unbearable weight of which was eventually what pushed Min Hee to take her own life. How could something so horrible happen to such a bright and beautiful person? Ok-ju realizes that while Min Hee seemed carefree on the outside, Choi Pro was actually threatening her and making her life a living hell. The thought haunts her. Once back in her apartment, Ok-ju starts listening to the wiretaps that she set up in the manor. She listens for hours, waiting for something to happen, and eventually, just as she is starting to doze off, she jumps awake when she hears Choi Pro on the phone with a friend. In the phone call, Choi and his friend decide to go out to a club named Heaven to pick up girls because supposedly the girls at this club are easier. Ok-ju jumps into action. She knows this is her chance. Picking out a ballet-style corset top, she gets dressed up and hits the club. At the club, Ok-ju quickly spots Choi Pro scoping out the girls on the dance floor for his next prey. Bumping into Choi Pro, Ok-ju takes her opportunity and asks if she can buy him a drink. He instantly falls into her trap and drives her to a sketchy motel, where she notices that the staff member is wearing an ankle monitor. In the room, which is covered in red wallpaper, adding to the sinister atmosphere, Choi Pro follows his usual protocol, emptying a plastic fish container's worth of drugs into Ok-ju's drink, and, once he believes she is knocked out, he starts to assault her. But little does he know Ok-ju is here for revenge. Waiting until he starts to film, Ok-ju lies pretending to be passed out while secretly holding a knife under her pillow. Just as he starts to undress her, she springs into action, fighting him back with her knife. Although she has her bodyguard training to rely on, Choi Pro is a good fighter, and the two are well matched. After a few minutes of violent combat, Okju viciously stabs Choi Pro in the side of the face, and he screams out in pain as blood gushes from his cheek and covers his face. Just as she starts to think she has won, out of nowhere, the man who was working the front desk of the motel bursts through the door with a massive gun and starts hunting for Okju, shooting wildly around the room. In a flurry of action, Okju manages to escape by stealing Choi Pro's sports car with the help of a mysterious high school girl who was at the dodgy motel as well. Back at Okju's apartment, we learn that this high school girl is a victim of the trafficking ring that Choi Pro is a member of when he isn't focused on his side business. She describes how the women who are trafficked are treated like and called slaves by the gang, and how she plans to get revenge with Okju's help. Together, Okju and the high school girl start to form a new plan. They know Choi Pro is going to be hunting for them, so whatever they do, from this point forward, needs to be well thought out. The first step in their revenge plan starts with Okju reaching out to one of her old friends from her time as a bodyguard. Why? Well, she needs a gun. Specifically, she needs an untraceable gun, which is not easy to find. After hearing Okju out, her old friend is seriously concerned about Okju and tries to dissuade her from the dark path that she is going down, but it is too late to go back now. Eventually, Okju's friend points her to two seniors who run a balloon shooting festival stall in the middle of nowhere that is actually a front for their real business, which is selling used weapons. Talking to the sellers, Okju explains that she wants the guns for hunting, and they show her a massive flamethrower, which, the seller explains, is typically used to get rid of wasp nests. Meanwhile, Choi Pro's gang boss is not happy that Choi's side hustle has messed with his business at the hotel. He demands that Choi bring him Okju. Angry that Okju, who to Choi Pro is some random woman he met in a club, has caused him trouble with his boss, exposed his side business, stole his sports car, and left a massive scar on his face. Choi Pro goes to his chemist friend, who hooks him up with the drugs for his side business and asks for his help. After some persuading and promising him a reward of 100 million won, Choi Pro's chemist friend agrees to help him kill Okju. The two men get started by breaking into Okju's apartment while she is at the convenience store and abducting the high school girl. Still in her home, Choi Pro and the chemist hide and wait for Okju to get back, and, catching her by surprise, Okju jumps out the window to escape before they can touch her. Despite failing to kill Okju, Choi Pro returns to the gang leader and reports having killed her. He describes killing Okju, chopping her up, and burying her in the mountains. But instead of being happy, however, his boss is more annoyed that Choi Pro did not bring Okju to him alive, as he asked. Choi Pro almost gets kicked out of the gang, especially since the gang leader is also pissed that Choi Pro left a witness of Okju's murder, the high school girl who gets taken to be tortured in one of the gang headquarters back rooms. There, the high school girl is whipped by Choi Pro, who tries to get her to spill where Okju is. But Okju is not one to abandon her friend, and she fights her way into the gang's headquarters, which is at a massive dark horse stable. Arrive at a room where a group of workers seem to be growing drugs. With a bloody face and a loaded gun, Okju threatens all the workers to tell her where the high school girl is. When she comes face to face with the gang leader tries to have a conversation with her. But nah. Okju shoots and kills him straight between the eyes, shocking all the workers. Quickly, a massive fight breaks out with Okju viciously fighting off countless workers, shooting them all, and leaving behind a massacre of blood and chaos. Eventually, she forces a gang member to tell her where the high school girl is being kept, and she goes there immediately, finding the chemist and the high school girl, who is passed out from torture. Although for all Okju knows she could be dead, Okju is momentarily distracted, staring at the student's unmoving body. Just as she is about to shoot the chemist, a bang rings out and Okju is shot in the arm by Choi Pro, who approaches her from behind. Running for cover, Okju disappears as the chemist celebrates in relief. However, helping Choi Pro find Okju is no easy task, And when the chemist mentions the 100 million won that Choi Pro promises to pay him, Choi Pro shockingly shoots him in the back of the head, killing his only partner instantly. I guess you can say Choi Pro got his money-back guarantee, haha. Little does Choi Pro know that the high school girl has woken up and she is reaching for the gun to shoot him. But despite having asked Ok-ju to teach her how to shoot when they were back at the apartment, the student still doesn't know how to shoot a gun. But luckily, the student surprised Choi Pro, giving Ok-ju just enough time to recover and shoot Choi Pro. Together, the high school girl and Ok-ju load Choi Pro's still-alive body into a car trunk and drive him to a beach. Once on the beach, Choi Pro pleads for his life, begging Ok-ju to explain to him why she is so brutal. After she mentions Min Hee and her suicide, Choi Pro realizes that his fate is inevitable, and his attitude changes. He tauntingly asks whether Min Hee really is a ballerina. His words disgust and enrage Ok-ju as he mocks that he has never seen a fat ballerina and mentions how he undressed her. He continues to taunt Ok-ju that if she kills him, he will meet Min Hee in hell and assault her forever. Ok-ju gets the last word when she claps back that she will meet him in hell and he will be her prey forever. His face sours and Ok-ju takes the flamethrower, the same one that the weapon sellers said was used to burn wasp nests. Ok-ju burns Choi Pro alive on the beach while he screams in agony. What a badass moment. Once Choi Pro is dead, Ok-ju returns to Choi Pro's mansion and takes all the videos that he shot of his victims, as well as some papers that we can only assume are the records of the gang's trafficking and drug business. Ok-ju drives into the sunset. While driving, Ok-ju looks back at the time when she and Min Hee went to the beach together. Ok-ju finally got her revenge for her friend.